Tipperary's Dylan Slevin became a professional darts player in January of this year. The 21-year-old has had an impressive first year on the PDC Tour and has now qualified for the World Darts Championship, which gets underway on Friday, December the 15th. I travelled down to Molly Báns Bar in Dylan's native Borrisokane to catch up on his first year as a pro and get his thoughts on his debut year at the Ali Pally. Here with professional darts player Dylan Slevin. We're in Molly Báns pub here in Borrisokane. You've probably played here a lot of times down through the years, but I suppose last time we spoke would have been back in January. You just won your tour card. We're in November here now when we're talking. Just talk about this journey you've had over the last year. How have you settled into becoming a professional darts player?
Yeah, sure. The last time we talked, I was just after getting it. And I think we talked just before I went over to England for the first tournament.
Yeah.
And reaching the semi-final of the first tournament, it was a good stepping stone into my professional career, and getting to that semi-final, it really shows you what you actually have to do. The commitment you have to put in, and but reaching that semi-final was a good stepping stone towards the year because I was up high on the rankings. I was up high on all the qualifications for the big tournaments, the Worlds, the Grand Slam and all that. But as the year went on, not everyone can keep that calibre. So I just dropped down a small bit, and luckily I've qualified for the Worlds. Missed out on the Players Championships now next week. Missed out on the Grand Slam this week. So I'm happy with the year so far. I was hoping the manager. I was talking to the manager just at the start of the year, and he says, "Look, what's your, what you want to achieve on your first year?" I said, "Look, it'd be great to get to the Worlds on your first year. It's a debut. You'll be scaring everyone. They'll be like, okay, this guy means business.
Yeah.
So he said, "Yeah, sure. Look, we'll just get our head down and qualify for the Worlds." But then when I kind of had a feeling I'd qualified, I wanted to qualify for more. And then I was thinking to myself, maybe you're getting too greedy, Yeah. So look, I missed out on the European Championships there by 2 or 3 spots. And missed out on the Players Championships by a spot, by £250. It is a kick in the teeth, because you want to be on TV, you want, you want to show people what you can do, So overall, it's been a good first year for me.
Yeah, it's definitely, and that first Players Championship event, for people watching or listening, there's 30 of them throughout the year. And it's all the best players in the world, and it's a straight knockout tournament. So your very first taste of the PDC ProTour, getting all the way to a semi-final was fairly mad.
Lovely,
but that might have given you a bit of confidence that I can compete at this level. I'm sure.
Because my missus was over with me, and I was playing all day, and I was playing. I played the likes of Willie, bet Willie, bet Josh. I averaged 103, I think, in my first round, first game of my professional career, 103, and and so on and so on. And then when you're playing on the non-streaming boards, you're out on the floor and you're taking in everything and next minute one of the PDC officials come over and say, "Oh, look, you're starting the quarterfinal in 5-10 minutes," and I was I just said to myself, you're in a quarterfinal, of a PDC tournament, it's, So I didn't really let that get to me head, but then once I won that, I went back out and just sat down with the missus and my sponsor, Mission. They always have one person there, and Gary's his name. He came over to me and was like, "Look, just do what you've been doing all day, don't even think about it. Don't even think there's a final to come, just play this as your final." And look, I got back to Jamie Hughes, they're from England. Me and Jamie are good friends, but you're friends with people, but when that caller says game on, it's your enemies, there's no friends, So getting to the semi was a good stepping stone on qualifying for the Worlds, I think. Really,
because I remember talking to you at the start when you just got it. You said if you can just qualify for a few of the European Tour tournaments, things like that. But you did mention qualifying for the Worlds was like the goal for year one.
That
So
was
you secured that in the last couple of weeks. Do you remember is it an email you get or a call you get, or what's that moment like when it's confirmed?
Yeah, no, it's basically, so like there's a website online, it's called dartsrankings.com, and it has all like the live order of merit, so like you have the whole 100 or 200 and something players on it, like, you know. But then there's a section for like the world match play qualifications, the Grand Slam qualifications, and the world qualifications, you know, and all that. And, you know, like, it's hard not to keep an eye on it, like, you know. So I tried my hardest not to keep a look, but
because it's what, top 64 on the Pro Tour.
So yeah, top 64, and I think I finished 18th or 20 something or something like that, you know. So like, yeah, like getting into the last, so like the week before the final ones, I think there was, what was there, 3 or 4 of the last ones, and the following one beforehand, like I was just saying, like, you know, just get a win, just keep money going on your rankings, and a few first round exits, like, you know, it's hard, like, you're like, oh god, like being in the qualification spots all year, like, and then coming up to the last ones you're going to drop out, you know, like, it's hard. So luckily I was getting money in the last ones. I won, I think, I got past the first round 3 out of 4, you know, so then I kind of knew, I was like, yeah, I'm in it this time, like, you know. So look, it was happy, you know, like everyone's like, oh, how are you feeling, like, are you nervous? And I'm like, no, like, it's like, I know it's the Worlds, right, it's the World Champs, the biggest tournament of the year, but like, to us dart tours, we've a job to do, like, you know, this is our job. So like, yeah, I'm going to be nervous, like, you know, first game in front of, I don't know, however many, 10,000 I think it is, or whatever they have in. So look, hopefully I can get past my first round on my debut, you know, and maybe get to the quarterfinals, we'll see, or hopefully win it.
Yeah, why not? You may as well shoot for the stars. Like. But like, in terms of playing on the big stage, like, how different is playing on the stage than playing in like the floor events? And because you've played a few of the Pro Tours or the European Tours where you're in front of a crowd, how big of a difference is it?
Yeah, it is, like, you know, like, it's like when you walk out to go on for your walk on, like, you know, you have like everyone calling, you know, signing, like, you're in the zone, like, you know, like, you block out the crowd, like, and like once you get up on the stage and you just look out and you can just see, like, you can see the front and a bit at the middle, but like the back is just black, like, cause the arenas are so big, like, you know. So yeah, no, like, it's like the very first European tour, when I got up on the stage, I felt very small, you know, because the stage is so big and it's just the dartboard and the 2 markers and the referee and obviously the player you're playing, like, and yourself. But like, and just as it got on, you know, I got my first win on the Euro Tour, and then everything started to calm, nerves started. I was more nervous playing when I qualified for my first Euro Tour than I'm going over to play for the Worlds, like, you know. It's weird, like,
it was an unknown, I suppose.
Yeah,
you
know,
like,
what
that feeling was like.
Before I made the professional circuit, I didn't know what the Euro Tours were. Do you know, like, I was like, what are they? Like, are they irrelevant? Like, but like, they are very, you know, because they get you qualification ranking points for the World. So like, luckily I qualified, I think it was 7 out of 13. Do you know, in your first year, that's good, like, you know, and so I'm happy with how I'm going.
Just looking on the results throughout the Pro Tour, like, I remember you bet Nathan Aspinall at one stage and like world number 8 or 9 at the time and things like that. So that probably proves your point here that on your day you can mix it with the best of them. Yeah,
like beating Nathan, like, it was, you know, like, it didn't really sink in until actually after the tournament, like, you know, I was like, oh my god, no, do you know what, it actually sank in when I seen the Tip FM report. I was like, wow, I actually bet Nathan Aspinall, like, you know. And like, people ask you, like, who's the top player you bet, like, and you know, you feel good saying, like, oh, I bet a top 10 in the world, like, you know. And look, I bet Christoby as well, like, Christoby's playing well as well, like, you know, like, so to say you've bet 2 good players, you know, Josh, Willie O'Connor as well, like, you know, like, Willie's he's been around a long time for Irish darts, like, you know, with Keane Barry coming along as well, and look, hopefully I can just do what they they're doing now. Like, you know, hopefully I can stay on the tour for a few years, you know, maybe up until retirement age.
Yeah. A nice 40-year career there for you. But you mentioned kind of it being your job now, and like that probably changes things in terms of it's probably a little bit more pressure on that this is your way of earning a living now. So how have you kind of dealt with that, you know, going into tournaments where, look, if I'm betting the first round here, I'm probably at a loss for the weekend?
Like, yeah, it is, like, it is hard knowing that it's your job, like, this is your way of living, like, you know, if you don't do well, like, you're going to be down money, like, but, like, I think it's a fact, like, that I'm going to do well. Do you know, that sort of way? Like, I always go into a tournament like, okay, you're going to, like, when I'm practicing in the morning, like, my darts are going well, like, you're going to win, like, do you know what I mean? So, I always, every weekend, I might get bet in the first round, but I'll always, do you know, I'll always win one game, do you know, just to keep me going until the next one, like, do you know? So, like, yeah, it is, do you know, like, when you start thinking about it, like, oh, it's your job, like, you have to win, like, but, like, I don't think like that because I'm putting more pressure on myself, do you know? So, yeah, no, like, I don't really think about it as, I just kind of, like, I know it's my job, but I still treat darts as my hobby, like, do you know, that sort of way, like, because if you put too much pressure on yourself, like, you're just not going to perform.
Yeah.
So, yeah, look, hopefully I can start throwing well now and make a few extra bags in the bank. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You mentioned kind of pressure, and like one of the most fascinating things about watching darts on telly is you see people when the pressure comes on, it's drama and there's missed doubles and players playing out of character and things like that. So like a lot of the game, I'd imagine, is between the 2 years, like mindset and terms of like how you're able to control nerves and things like that. So have you been, over the last kind of year or so, have you been able to learn anything maybe from ex-pros or other lads on the circuit or anything, just in terms of dealing with pressure and just even the profession in general? Have you learned much from other lads being around them throughout the last year?
Yeah, no, look, like I could be on a board of my own, like, you know, and Johnny Clayton could come over to you and say, oh, well, how's it going? Like, how's, like, the very last one, I think it was Player Championship 29, I think it was. And I was practicing on my own, and you're just practicing and you're throwing away, and next minute you hear this voice behind you, you know, and you're like, who's that? Like, and I turn around and it was Johnny, and he was like, oh, how are you, mate, and all that. And I was like, oh, I'm good, like, you know. And he was like, oh, how's life on the tour for your first year? I said, look, it's going well, like, you know, I'm enjoying it, like. He was like, good, like, so, you know, like, you get, like, people told me, like, oh, like, these are going to be, like, you know, they're not going to acknowledge it, like, but they really do, like, you know, like, Nathan, Chris Dobie, Nathan Aspinall, Johnny, you know, like, Nathan Rafferty. I'm good friends with Nathan, actually, you know.
Yeah.
Like, they always give you a tip here and there, like, you know, they're not going to give you what they do, like, because if you do what they do against them and you beat them, they'll be a bit sour about it, like, so, you know, like, they'd give you a tip here and there, like, but it's, you know, like, you're an adult now, like, you're not a child anymore, so, like, you kind of have to learn as you come nowadays, like, you know, so that's the joys of it.
Yeah, and I like when I refer back to the interview we done in January a few times there, but I mentioned at the time that this is going to be like a kind of a big lifestyle change in terms of going from being not a professional darts player to a professional darts player, and just looking at it from the outside, like you're travelling over to Germany quite a lot for tournaments and over to Barnsley in England and things like that. How have you found that element of it and travelling back and forth? Because it is a big change, I'd imagine, to what you were doing maybe 12 months ago.
Like, at the start of it now, like, you know, at the start, like, you're on a high, like, the adrenaline is running in your body, like, you want to get over and play your first tournament, like. But then, as the months came on, I think it was like 4 months into it, and, like, you know, you start to feel it take a toll on your body, like, you know, you'd be tired when you come home, you know, all you want to do is sleep. But now, sure, what are we now? We're into November now, so that's what, 6 months on tour now, 7 months. Do you know, like, and like, I'm off now for the last, I'd say, 2 or 3 weeks. You know, maybe a month. Like, I want to get back out, you know. So like I'm not out for the next 5 weeks now till the start of the Worlds. So I've contacted my manager to would he be able to bring me out to England, you know, to have an all practice week. So he's bringing me out now next week. Next Monday I'm flying out to England to go for an all practice week with Ricky Evans and a few others, you know, and he's entering me into a few little tournaments. So hopefully I can, you know, get a good nice little practice session out there with Ricky and them, and hopefully I can do the business in December.
Keep the eye in.
Yeah.
Coming into Christmas.
Do you know?
And like looking ahead to the World Championships now, it's something that everyone nearly around the place. You're in a pub around Christmas time. It's on the telly, the darts, and it's a massive arena, a massive stage. It's a way bigger stage than any of the other ones. Like, are you excited? Looking forward to it? Is there much kind of fanfare around your family in terms of booking flights and tickets and anything like this? What's all like the build up in the Slevin family for?
Yeah, so I think the mother and father and the brother's coming, and I think my partner's mother and father is coming as well. So I've been talking about, my mum has been in hospital there, and she's only out today now, so thank God, like, you know. And like I was in with her there, it would have been 5 days ago, and she was like, you know, like there's a load of people booking, like, you know, a load of people want to go, they're wondering how to get tickets and all, like, and you know, like it's good to hear like that you have a good fan base, you know, in your hometown, like. So I'm really looking forward to it, and hopefully I can do the people of Borrisokane proud, like, you know.
Yeah, and you seem to have a good kind of support. You've mentioned your girlfriend and your family a few times here, but even in the locality, like, it seems to be a lot of support here, which is, how does that feel, just to have everyone kind of behind you on this journey?
Yeah, like, you know, like it's like you might go to the shop, you know, for a drink or something, and you know, someone might just come up to you and say, oh, like, how are you going, like, how are you getting on, like, and I'm like, yeah, look, going well, like, good for my first year, do you know, like, it's nice to know that people are following you, do you know, that sort of way, like, you don't really think, you wonder, like, do the people of here in Burrs, Nina, I know a few people in Nina, that they follow me as well, so like, it's nice to know, like, that I have, like, a fan base here, and hopefully a load of them can get tickets over to the Ali Pally in December.
Yeah, have you ever been over there yourself?
No.
Yeah.
I've always said to myself when I was younger, you know, when I started throwing darts, I always said to myself, like, people will ask you, like, oh, would you go over, you know, and I said, you know what, now, I might sound arrogant, but I said, I'll never go and watch a game of darts in Ali Pally until I'm up on that stage.
And there we go.
And here we are. I was like, thank God that paid off. So, like, I'm just, like, I'll obviously sit in and watch a few darts, you know, like, when I'm not playing. But, I'm just raring to get onto the...
and would you be a big stage watcher of darts? Like, would you watch it on different tournaments on telly and things
the Grand Slam now is on this week, and, you know, like, I'm following it, like, you know, because you want to see who's playing well, and you want to see who's, you know, their game is iffy, like. So, I don't watch darts as I used to, you know, like, I always watch darts, like, but now that you're doing it now, like, you're like, oh, like, I should be there, like, do you know what I mean? Like, that should be me on that TV.
You see it as you're a peer of these people now.
Yeah, like, you know, like, and but yeah, no, I love darts, like, I still watch it, and it's something on telly, like, you know, so that's.
And again, like, just for Ali Pally and things like that, looking forward to it, like, have you picked walkout music and all this sort of thing yet, or how does that?
I'm obviously, I love the band Kiss, you know, Crazy Nights, like, it's, you know, it gets me going, like, I listen to it in the practice room on my earphone or my AirPods, you know, like, it gives you a pep in your step, like, you know, so
I'm sure the crowd would like it's
a
crowd kind of tune as well, like,
so, like, you know, you want to get the crowd on your side, like, you don't want the crowd, like, being against you, and if you're throwing for a winning double, like, you don't want them to boo you, like, so you kind of just want to get that crowd on your side, you know.
And have you played the likes of Gordon Price or Michael Van Gerwen? Have you played them on the tour this year?
No, not yet.
Okay,
probably look next year, like, you know, I'm all next year to do that as well, so probably next year will be probably when I mostly play them, like, you know, so.
And Well, you just see your start in darts. I think you mentioned your father was on one of the.
Yeah, he's there. Yeah,
on
and
the
mother's up there as well. Actually, yeah.
so, I'd imagine that's where your roots in darts started with your family. And just tell us about your journey from when you first started to when you were good enough to think, "Whoa, I can make something happen here."
I actually, I was very young, but I can still remember, just when Dad was playing pub darts, he'd be practicing in the kitchen, and I'd be watching, and I was only high off the ground,
Yeah.
but I'd pull out the chair, I wasn't allowed to throw darts, but when they'd go in the sitting room, I'd sneak out the chair and maybe try and fire 3 or 6 darts into the board before they noticed. But that's when I started, it was on a chair, and to look back from throwing on a chair to where I am now, it's, when I first really started throwing darts, it was probably about 14, I'd say, maybe, when playing county trials. And, I was starting off, and, they have their good players, and to beat the good players is good, gives you confidence. And the coach of the county team says to my father, he knew my dad from work and all that, with lorries and that. And he said, look, bring him to the INDOs, they're called, rankings for Ireland. He was like, yeah, sure, look, we'll give it a go, you know. So we went there and we got far, and I actually won my first INDO ranking was at youths, was in the Racket Hall in Roscrea.
Yeah.
And I won that. And the first year, my very first year throwing, darts, competitive darts, we'll say, and made the Irish team. And I was like, all right, okay. So then the next year I made it again. I was like, right. And then my final year I missed out on, I think I was a point or two out. But I didn't really mind, because I'd played 2 years, And then COVID hit. So there was no darts really around, and then they started doing the online darts. So I was like, I'll just throw a few online darts. But I was still playing hurling and Gaelic football all during this. And then sure, hurling started back, So I went back playing hurling, and then broke my ankle playing hurling.
Right.
So then that was another step back. So I was like, oh God, Then I had the manager text me, or he rang me, and he goes, well, are we going to Q school? This was for Q school just gone, so it was last year. He's like, well, are we going to Q school this year? And I said, look, I'm after breaking my ankle, it's hard to know if I'll be ready, So he said, look, we'll enter you in. If you can't make it, you can't make it, right? And I said, look, yeah, we'll do that. So, and then he said, if you don't get your tour card, we'll worry about the challenge tour. So that's below to get a tour card. But yeah, look, lucky enough, I got my tour card there in January, and I didn't have to worry about the challenge tour. But it's amazing, from remembering throwing on a stool to now you're a professional, you can actually say not many people can say that they've started very, very young to I know a lot of the lads they've only picked up a dart in the last 8 years, maybe 10, 15 years, I'm throwing since I was a toddler, you can nearly say.
Yeah.
So it's good to know that the progression of my career, you can say.
It's a nice upward trajectory anyway, and beyond Alexander Paz. I'm looking forward to it. I'd say nearly as much as you are. But you're kind of a cool, kind of relaxed, kind of laid back character. So I'm sure you'll take well to the big stage. But another thing I suppose that was sorted during the year was when you get to this level, you need a nickname and things like that.
Yeah.
And I think there was a poll done and things like that, and even some of the lads back home were coming up with nicknames for you as well.
Yeah.
There were stairways to Slevin and things like that, and magic number Slevin and all these things. But you've gone with Oceans, and it makes for a nice start shirt anyway.
Yeah, I know. I was the Terminator, and then I was the Slevinator. So I wanted to bring my second name into it, But then once I got my tour card, and I was signing for a mission. And I was like, look, is there any way we can do a design to match my name? And they said, they can, but the fact that you're dealing with contracts and all that, like, do you know, like, there's copyright nowadays, and like Slevinator, so you're obviously going to have to use something with the Terminator, do you know, on your shirt. So like then they could turn around and say like, oh look, he's making money from this, like, we're a loss here, do you know. So they could have sued for copyright, you know. So then it was getting down to business to change the name, and manager was like, lucky number Slevin. I was like, no.
You didn't like that?
No. And they were like, the magnificent Slevin. I was like, they're getting worse, do you know? And then he was like, how about Ocean Slevin? I was like, what's the click like, do you know? He's like, have you ever seen the films, you know, George Clooney, Oceans 9, 10, 11? I was like, no. He goes, you'll have to watch them. And I was like, all right, yeah. And I was like, what are they about? Like, and he was like, oh, casinos. Like, and I was like, all right, yeah, okay. So the minute he mentioned casinos, I was like, yeah. I said, yeah, sure, we'll go with Oceans, you know, like, not many people like it. Like, some people want me to be called the 00 Slevin, like, you know.
We're coming up with so much nicknames here now.
Do you know, like, but no, Oceans is sticking, like, you know, and look, hopefully somewhere down the line, in the next few years, I might bring out a better one, like, you know, like, you
start making a bit of money, and George Clooney's on the phone saying,
like, so, that's the name now, and it does actually. I actually liked the shirt when they first designed it for me. Like, they gave me a few choices, and this is the one I picked. So yeah.
And just before we finish up, like that's all stuff away from actual darts itself. How have you managed all that kind of business stuff? And I think you released actual darts and things like that. So how's all that kind of business side? Do you have a team that kind of sorts all that sort of thing out?
My manager looks after all the, you know, the contracts, and he'll read them, and he'd tell me if it's a good deal. I'm actually currently in the lines of new sponsorship as well. I don't know if I'm outside of it. We'll say it anyway. Clancy Construction there. I'm not too sure if they're up in Dublin or if they're over in England.
Yeah.
But I know they're Irish. I know it's an Irish-based company anyway. So yeah, like, it's, you know, like, to know like people are out there looking to sponsor you it's nice, like, you know. And it's good to get a sponsorship in Ireland. Do you know, like, because there's not much opportunities with sponsorship in Ireland. It's all over in England. Like, everywhere wants to sponsor a dart show. Like, they want to see their thing on TV. So look, it's good.
Yeah,
it's good.
Yeah. And just finally now, looking ahead to the World Championships, in your mind as we're sitting here now in November, a few weeks out, like, are you just looking to just experience it all in the first year, or what's your kind of, for the World Championships, Alexander Palace, what's your kind of overall goal?
Well, the goal is, you know, like, the goal is to win. You know, everyone wants to win. Everyone wants to come home with a trophy. Like, you know, we're all fighting for that one thing. Look, Rob Cross has done it. Kirk Shepherd has got to the final, got beat to John Part. So, like, you know, it can be done. Like, you know, you just have to get the look of the draw. Like, you know, but look, like, if you look, a load of professionals lost in their first round 2-3 years running. Do you know? So, like, you know, you have to take that into consideration. Like, you're only learning, you learn as you go. But look, I'd like to get, like, I'd like to win a few games then in December. Do you know?
Yeah.
I don't want to go over and lose in the first round and come back home and then it'll be a bad Christmas. Like, you know, I'd like to get to the third round and get past the second round, come home for Christmas, and, you know, it'll be a nice Christmas dinner, like, to chat with the family, like, you know, like, oh, are you excited for the third round and all that. So that's my goal, like, you know, to come home to a happy Christmas than a not so happy Christmas.
But either way, it's you've had a great first year, and I'm one of many people looking forward to seeing you over in London. So the very best of luck to you, and
Thanks, Paul.
we'll catch up later again.
Yeah, we will.